Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. You're going to watch something new today called the Mow Down. This is something that, if it works out, I want to do it once a month, where I take the top 5 comments that really make me roll my eyes and mow them down, roast them, toast them a little bit. Now, let me say that we love comments. I love getting comments, and we like to answer those when we can. But every once in a while, we get some boob that just says something that just, well, you're going to see. Okay, now that I've made you watch the 10-second marketing thing, here's how it goes. Now, the first boob of the month is, it comes from a video we did, the Camaro versus Mustang, and of course these kinds of videos always turn into wars when it comes to your comments, because you guys are bench racing, you're going at it, arguing your brands. It's like sports, Ford versus Chevy, and I try not to get in the middle of these things. In fact, I usually stay out of them, but I love it when you guys beat each other up, because it drives up the search rankings on my videos, and it therefore makes them pay the mortgage. So kill yourselves. I love it. But this guy actually impugned my integrity. He actually attacked me a little bit. So I have to answer this. Michael P. says on the Camaro versus Mustang, classic example of Chevy propaganda right here. This moron takes a fistful of dollars from Chevy and trashes the Ford just like everybody else. Really? If only it were true. If only it were true. Because here's the thing. If it were true, if I were taking a fistful of dollars, I wouldn't be in a home office studio that's 10 by 10, so close to my green screen. Turn off the studio for a second. Okay. So close to my green screen that you see a green glow on the back of my arm. See, the way it works with these things is you're supposed to stand at least 4 or 5 feet away from that so it doesn't reflect green onto you. Turn it back on. And if I were taking a fistful of dollars, I wouldn't be using a freeware downloadable fake studio behind me like I do. Now, it's a pretty nice looking fake free studio, but I'd like to have a real one. Wouldn't that be that'd be kind of nice? But oh, and my buy it list, my I buy it list, which is linked down below, by the way, cars I test drive that I like well enough that I'd buy. I'd actually own 1 or 2 of them instead of a 10-year-old Volkswagen Beetle. So there's that. But all of that's really missing the point, because Michael, if you really believe that all of us auto journalists are taking money from Chevrolet to like their cars, or rather, to put it in terms that are neutral, to like the brand you don't like and trash the brand you like, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, man. This isn't sports, okay? This isn't my team against yours. When we test cars, we're looking for all the stuff that makes it good for consumers, not brand loyalists. I used to be a brand loyalist. When I was in high school, my buddy was a Chevy guy, I was a Ford guy. We used to argue back and forth, so I get that. But it was like, you know, found on the road dead. If it ain't Chevy, it ain't shit. You know, it's kind of high school stuff. Grow up, inhale. Try something out new. Go drive a Chevrolet. You might just like it. I did. And by the way, that Camaro did make it on the I Buy It list again. You can see that down below. And since we're on the same subject here, we did a review of the WRX STi Subaru recently. Kind of going the same direction on the whole high school brand loyalist thing, because Jamin T says, you gave the steering 2 out of 5 stars. Bruh! Bruh! I feel like Mr. Ed there. Look, the steering sucked on this car. As you can see, I'm going to keep looping this for the rest of my little bit here. The steering on this car had so much kickback, it has so much bump steer, and I'm talking about 1950s, 1960s era crap. Every time you hit a bump, every time you hit a pothole, and if I was on a rough road, this car was just constantly grabbing at my hands. It's not acceptable, okay? I don't care if the car is a $10,000 used Datsun or if it's a $100,000 plus Porsche, and I said it right, you folks. I've gotten comments on that too for not saying Porsche correctly. Look, it's just not good to have steering that's that bad, and there's a way to engineer that out, and Subaru just didn't do it. Look, I know you got to know all these cars you think are the greatest thing on the planet playing on PlayStation or Xbox, but when you drive a car in the real world, there's a difference. And speaking of the real world, now let's talk about the Tacoma from Toyota. We test drove that, we did an off-road test, and in that particular test drive, I did a rant. I went off on the fact that they're still putting drum brakes on this thing in this century because drum brakes are cheap. And Toyota can get away with it because they have the #1 best-selling pickup truck in the market, and people are going to keep buying that truck whether it's got drum brakes or disc brakes, so why spend the money? And that's pretty much what I said, and I said that disc brakes are superior to drum brakes in every fashion except one, which is cost. Well, that sparked a lot of comments, and so many of them, I just had to pick one, and this one pretty much sums them all up, and it's from 528i owner 241, a BMW owner nonetheless, says, "You're wrong about the rear brakes, buddy. They don't do it for cost savings only. Actually, the main reason for the brakes is to be more protected while off-roading." That's bullshit, okay? That's what Toyota told us when we went to the media launch. Oh, it's better for off-roading because stuff can't get stuck in there, rocks and debris and whatever. No, I'm sorry. Disagree from the engineering standpoint there. Disc brakes are superior to drum brakes in every single way. Period. Okay. Yeah, stuff can get stuck. You can get little gravel pieces in the pads, but that can happen on drum brakes too. Anyone who's ever pulled the drum off drum brakes and dug mud and dug gravel and other shit out of there, and oh, gee, all my hardware's corroded now because that stuff's been caked in there all this time, knows that you can get just as much junk stuck in your brakes with drums as you can with discs. So that's just BS. And the fact of the matter is, disc brakes are self-cleaning by centrifugal force. So all the stuff that's on them flies off. And when you go through water, washes them off. Clean as can be. If you ever look at disc brakes on a car, you just don't see dirty ones that often. But keep arguing about it because, again, you argue about stuff on my videos, it pays my mortgage. And, you know, I might just be able to buy a bigger studio one day. So keep it up. I love to say stuff that gets you going. And the next boob of the month is Eric S2. Speaking of the Power Wagon from Ram. Now, I test drove this truck. This is the off-road truck, the heavy-duty off-road truck from Ram. I test drove it at the truck rodeo where we had a lot of different trucks. All the big muckety-mucks from the automakers were there. They weren't handing out money, though, I'll point out. But Toyota was there talking about their crawl control on their truck. And some of the other automakers were there talking about all the traction and toys that they have that really help you go through rugged terrain and, you know, downhill descent control, whatever. And the head of Ram gets up and he says, "We have a winch on our truck. We don't need all those other things. We can pull a Ford and a Chevy and all those other brands out of the ditch with our winch." And he's right. And I sort of talked about that in the video. Well, Eric S2 says, "I would love to use the winch to pull out Ford and GM." The problem, Eric, is you said wench with an E, W-E-N-C-H. Either you're very sexist or you can't spell, because wench is a completely different thing than winch. Google it. Now, the last boob of the month is me, because the comments are from multiple people and they pretty much all say the same thing. Dude, your voice sucks. Your voice is annoying. You talk like a flight attendant. Your voiceovers are the worst I've ever heard. Folks, you're right. I am awful at doing I can't even say the word. I'm terrible at doing voiceovers. And the fact of the matter is, in the 3 years I've been doing this, I've been reading the comment about that, the multiple comments about that. But the thing is, I also get comments that say, your voice is monotone. You inflect your voice too much. Opposites there, you see? So, in all of that, what I do take from that is, yeah, I do need to improve what I do. The voiceovers are just something that we have to do in this. I can't always be talking on camera. Sometimes there are scripted moments where I've got to be reading facts and figures, or we do news pieces where I'm just not on camera because it's not about me, it's about whatever I'm talking about. So I'm working on it. That's all I can tell you. My voice is my voice. This is how I talk. If you don't like the way I talk, don't watch. But if you like what I do, here's what I want you to do. I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because I'm going to roast your comments if you say some good stuff. So I'm not, wait a minute. I'm not baiting you, but I'm just saying you need to subscribe, because we do a test drive once or twice a week. Plus we have a new video just like this almost every other day. I used to say every day, but I've been kind of laxing a little bit because one person can't do that kind of a cadence of video every day. In fact, that person I talked to over there turning off the studio, that was actually me in the mirror over there. So I have to do everything. I'm a one-man band. I can't even say it right. Anyway, subscribe, stay tuned. I love you guys.